Since there's just a few of us here for a few minutes here, I think hopefully others will join. Tobias and Kevin, how are you guys doing? Are there any what's showing up for you as it relates to Augmented Awakening right now?
Well, for me, apart from keeping up with the masterminds in this cohort, which not just you two, but some very, very intelligent people, it's also making me reconsider personal limitations and the framework that we become stuck in as human beings in this mortal phase of our journey, in which we have crap imprinted upon ourselves in a very young age, and most of us struggle to break out of that. So it's expanding my horizon, if you like, in terms of just personal development, and that incorporates the use of AI for sure. But
Is
it's
there a way you've used it to help you find your limitations in a different way, or see yourself in a different light, or see the process in a different light?
It's I'm beginning to scratch the surface. I mean, part of my issue is that I'm very poor at time management, but in the last few weeks I have started improving. So, for example, digital detox is my big thing at the moment, because I absolutely know that it's a trap, that it's like a Venus flytrap that we're all being kind of lured into, and just the overview of what is going on in our society is enlightening and instructing me in how I should behave and operate. And so, for example, I've stopped checking any messages now before, let's say, 4 in the afternoon, simply because if it's that urgent, people will phone me, And so it's just, I've just become more productive lately. And yeah, I mean, in terms of a deep exploration, I'm still catching up, and I've got to make time for that. But it's a work in progress, and I'm learning from you guys for sure.
So kind of managing the boundaries between digital and non-digital, and where you put your time to create a
Yes.
space for this that's healthy
Well,
for you.
be proactive rather than reactive is what it comes down to.
Yeah. And how about you, Tobias? I'll try to wait for a few more people to join before. Let me add you.
Hi guys, I tried to explain it, even if my English is not so good. Yeah, AI. I went very deep in the last couple of months. I quitted my job to go all in with AI. I have a new job beginning in summer. I can bring AI to I don't know the word. It's the people who learn a new job. If they take, I don't know the word, but it's in building, not in building, it's in teaching, AI in teaching. And now I have the opportunity to really understand it, and I'm really going deep. But on the other side, it's very overwhelming. It's so much, and there are agents, there is prompting, there is. I try to learn coding, and I feel that it will. Yeah, I'm an utopist. I feel the utopia side of it, but at the moment it's a lot, and I'm a bit overwhelmed with the topic.
Yeah, I just feel like the past 2 months, 3 months, it's just kind of gone into super drive, where there's like this new model, that new model. And when I log onto Twitter AI, it's a little harder now, because everyone's like, here are 10 agents to help you do this, and it does all your jobs. So it's definitely feeling that as well.
But I really enjoy your content from Anand and from you, Michael. That's one of my very valuable content I use. So thank you for that. for the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. And I saw a few other people join. What are you most excited about? Like, what made you join for today? Is there anything specific or more just being part of the energy field and the topic of discussion? And feel free to try to get a response from each person since we have a small enough group today.
Yeah.
And then
Feel
we can
free to
jump
put
in.
your cameras on if you've joined. Love to see you. Be nice.
Yeah, please turn your cameras on. Since we have small enough group here, it'd be nice to have it be less broadcast and more interactive.
Which is actually my intention for today was, a couple of people had said, oh, there's been a certain shape to the first 3 sessions, and I thought we'd do a little bit more, have a bit more room for Q&A. And I do have a couple of topics that I'm thinking of, which is around the relationship to new, to overwhelm, as you said, Tobias, to learning new things. It's kind of an interesting idea. Why do we hesitate to start something new? How many people have thought, oh, I'm meaning to start something and I haven't, right? And I've got a few ideas, but it'd be nice to kind of do it more interactively because we are a small group. There might be a few more arriving. Michael, did you want to say what's happened? It was just the email that went out.
Yeah, when I was selecting things on Substack and sending out the email reminder this morning, when you select people, it selects only 50 at first, and you have to press an extra button to select everyone. So I sent out the first reminder just to 50 people out of the 1,000 members. So
yeah, so we might get people kind of coming in as the session goes on. Karen.
Yes, hello all. I would like to join Tobias in the state of overwhelm. We have a focus of what our life's purpose is, and now, there's the prompting and the coding, and there's just so much. And add to that the wonderful state of the world today, and people in your lives driving you crazy. So Anand, please help. Help us ourselves.
Okay, feet on the ground.
Try.
Step 1, feet on ground.
Okay.
Celebrate the fact that you're still breathing.
Barely.
Well, then start breathing. Right. And just look around the room you're in now. In this room. Yeah. That there is so much going on, and what we're talking about here is that if we think the world causes our feelings, then we're kind of stumped. And that is, by the way, that's normal, right? Because as we've been growing up, the normal construction of meaning making in the world is that when certain circumstances or conditions are, then there is a correct or a right way to feel that arises in relationship to that. No one goes, somebody cut ahead of me in the queue in the supermarket, I'm ecstatic and blissful about it, right? Most people don't have that response, right? So there's kind of standard responses we have to standard things, and these are all being activated now because of the conditions in the world. So this is our opportunity to see if we can make a little bit of a gap, a backward step, they would call it in Zen, between what's happening in the world, how we're interpreting it in our own minds. Because you mentioned something, you said, because you said the people in your lives that are driving you crazy. It's very important to understand that switch of what's called a switch of referential index. So I was thinking, hang on, people in my life aren't driving me crazy. And then I went, oh, she means the people in your life are driving you crazy. So notice that the switch from the you to the I, right? And usually this is a way of trying to get some distance, quite frankly, right? It's a good adaptive strategy. Does that make sense? So put your hand on your forehead, Karen, because that tends to calm down the nervous system, right? And take a breath. And all we're doing, because none of this physiological change it's completely useless to change the world directly, right? Because I've never met anyone who put their hand on their forehead and then the economic policy changed. That, as far as I know, right? But what it does do is it puts you in a more resourceful state. This is what we're aiming for first. And maybe put the other hand on your heart, Karen, right? Because the idea I need to be in a activated state in order to handle what's going on is, as you well know, probably, Karen, is the flight fight response, right?
Mhm.
Right. So just for this moment, maybe put your hands on your shoulders and see if you can do something somatic and physiological that calms your nervous system. And you can see a couple of people just havening, which is a slow stroke down the outside. Right? And just tell me what's happening in your body, not in your mind, not in the world, but in your body.
I'm more aware of a kind of vibrations in my body, and
Mm.
the calming of them.
Right. So let's do this. So this would be a really good practice to do every day, so that not because it's going to fix things in the world, because you'll be in a more resourceful state in order to handle the things that are happening in the world. Okay. So also do this because I think from what I know of you, you're very sensitive to the world. I don't know if this will work, but just send the intention that any energies that you've taken into your space that are not yours, that you can send some of those back. And we're just looking subjectively if that creates some relief. So this is useful for everyone. That's why I'm doing it as an exercise. Right? And what happens when you allow other people's energies that are not yours to go back to them? And it's a model. So we see what physiologically happens, or what happens in your subjective experience when you do that.
It brings me to a much calmer state. And I do acknowledge that I have one of my friends who's driving me crazy. I don't have to keep swirling around his issues, right? I have to stay back and taking in all those energies, not a good thing.
No.
Doing me or him any good,
Exactly. So now here's the thing, right? The even journaling with AI, right? Just writing down everything you're experiencing and putting it on a screen and having it fed back to you can be really valuable, right? Because you're just creating some distance between your experience and being inside it versus going meta to it, right? And so here's why I'm really confident about this, Karen, is because we only did this for a few minutes, right? And you're able to see a tangible change in your physiology, your response, your feeling sense, right? Now, the content might say, but this is not going to change the thing in the world. You're right, it won't, right? But it will change you in relationship to how you handle the things that come up in your world.
Absolutely. I remember my mom who would say, if only they would. And I always responded, well, no, they're not. You can't change the world. So, I think it's a human tendency and to survive, thrive, and really make a difference. You need to be that calm place in a not so calm world with people.
Otherwise that's what we're propagating, right? The whole be the change you want to see in the world. If you want to see peace and centeredness and calm in the world, then it's not hard, it's not easy in the beginning. But the reason I'm really optimistic about this is notice how much of a change you're able to do in under 5 minutes, right? And what would happen if you practiced every day for a month?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to save yourself before you save the world.
Exactly. This is the put your own oxygen mask on first.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Can I ask you a question, Anand, about information overwhelm due to AI?
Yeah.
Because I find this kind of to be a universal experience that almost everyone I talk to about AI is feeling this. And I also realize that, learning from you, we have a lot of control over how we represent ourselves, how we represent AI and what's happening in the field. So, yeah, I guess, for example, Karen mentioned there's prompting and there's coding, and also there's tools and there's agents that are becoming online now thing. And, there's a talk of AGI. Is there a way you'd recommend, once we are in a resource state, having a relationship to AI where we're not feeling behind or out of our own energy or playing catch up?
So I think we spoke briefly, but this is one of the slides, which will. Right. So there is standard ways, as if we planned it. Right. There are standard ways in which, and by the way, anyone who's kind of on that isn't on camera, if you put in the chat, just what are these challenges? Because I think this is that's basically what I want to handle today, which is all the things we do internally in order to get overwhelmed. So let's say it's agents, right? So personally, I have not approached agents right now. And that's an active choice, because I'm thinking, and I'm aware of it, let me just go through the content, is I don't want something running around on my browser that I don't know what it's doing, right? Now, what I'm also aware of, I haven't even checked, I'm assuming there's safety protocols in place. Maybe it's within a context, right? I.e. that the agent is only allowed to operate within a closed environment, all kinds of things. You would assume that was normal. But what I'm aware of is that I don't know what I don't know. I'm not making conclusions or assumptions about agents without the information. I'm not going, they will take over the world and they will run, because that is fueled by our own fears, like our paranoia, our fear of power, something's running around, I don't know what it's doing, all of these kinds of things, right? So just making the distinction between going, oh, if I don't know something, it doesn't necessarily mean it is the fearful thing that I think it is. Now, the reason we need this is because imagine we're walking along in the savannah, right? We come up to a bush and the bush is like rustling, right? The only people that survived was the ones that didn't go, wow, what's that, right? Because they got eaten by a lion or a tiger, right? It's the ones when that could potentially be dangerous, I'm going to run the other way, right? So there's a set number of things when it comes to learning something new or exploring something new that comes up around, if I don't know then, and the question is, what predictions are we making? Like, I'll never be able to work it out, or even if I look at it, I won't understand it. What are some of the things, the mental constructions that come up when you think about exploring some completely new area, or there's too many areas, I have no idea, right? So it's kind of interesting. Everyone here, just checking, everyone here has a human body, right? How many people know the systems of the body? Just put it in the chat.
Like all of the systems?
Just the ones you can think of. Yeah, the basic. So the circulation system, nervous system, the digestive system. What else we got? The skeletal system, the glandular system, right? A whole bunch of them, right? Most people, unless you're a neurobiologist, doesn't know all of them, right? So there's ones missing in our list, right? And yes, exactly. And the recent thing about the gut brain and the heart brain and the head brain, and so the microbiome, and then it's an interesting idea that I think there's twice the number of microbes that are not human in a human body than there are human cells, right? Which is kind of interesting. We're like a host to a whole environment. And I bet most people here couldn't rattle off